representing her as the American hero and her life and her last flight over the Pacific. Amelia Earhart was the 16th woman to receive a pilot's license. She was the first female to fly across the Atlantic. She once was Lady Lindy, her brave journey as one of the first ladies to go across the world. Amelia kept clippings while in school of all the women who were first at something. Her mother, Amy Otis, climbed Pikes Peak as the first lady. Now today I will provide you with information about Amelia Earhart's life and the last flight over the Pacific. Let's begin with Amelia's early childhood and her as a young adult. Amelia was born to Edwin and Amy Otis Earhart in 1897. She was one of two daughters born in Atchison, Kansas. Amy was born in her grandfather's home due to her mother had a child previous to her that was stillborn in Kansas City, Kansas. So her mother thought it was best that she moved back home when they found out she was pregnant with Amelia, of course. After Amelia was born, 4 years later, Mariel was born, her little sister. They moved back and forth between winters and summers to Kansas City, to Atchison, Kansas, where her father was a lawyer, practicing lawyer, and was between odds and ends jobs. There, in Kansas City, Kansas, her mother also was bookkeeping for her father as he was the lawyer, and they did some traveling. They also were back and forth to Chicago. There, Amelia attended Hyde Park High School, where she later graduated after attending 6 different high schools due to her father's work. He also had some problems with alcoholism because of the odds and ends jobs as well. Amelia, later, she graduated from there and took a job as a nurse aide in Canada, where her sister later moved to, and she helped wounded pilots and took on a love for aviation as she watched the flying fields in the evening times. There is where she took note and began to take on where she wanted to do the career of flying. She later moved on to California, where she met Netta Hook, and there she took flying lessons from Netta Hook, which was one of the second women to become a pilot, first female. There is where she got her first plane, which she called it the Canary because it was bright yellow. Amelia, life went on from there, and decades later, she went on and married Mr. Putman. From there, Putman helped her plan her trip around the world. They were able to get on a navigator and a co-pilot to fly with her, one being Paul Mance and one being Newman. Newman was her co-pilot. They managed to work together with Putman to plan work around the countries around the world to set up fuel in those different areas, so when they landed they could refuel to make it around the world. They had 29,000 miles to go to make it all the way around the world, starting in Oakland, California, and ending in Hawaii. There is where Amelia started the year plan. They started their flight in 1937, and then they were able to take off from there, and they were able to go, and they landed, the first place they landed was in Honolulu. And there she wrote in a letter saying that she wanted just peace and quiet. Reporters and people were bothering her, and Newman and Paul Mance, and Paul Mance also was there because he was his anniversary. He had made special plans to get married while they had landed there. From there, they went and flew on. altitude while flying, and her plane started to go down. She was able to radio in and let them know that her plane was going down, and during that flight, she told them that she was low on fuel. Her last radio call was at 8:43 a.m. and she on July 3rd, and she let them know that she was running out of fuel, and that's the last they heard of her. Today, her legacy lives on as the greatest aviator, Amelia Earhart.